And just like that, the game ends 0-0. I'll be honest, from a Liverpool's point of view, I'll obviously take the draw. I mean, coming into this game, I feel like everybody really thought that we were just gonna get battered. And you know those games where you just have like sort of like a gut feeling where you're just gonna not have like a shock result, like absolutely gonna, just run away with a 2-0, 3-0, like absolutely against the odds. But I feel like Arsenal this season, they've been really good, but there's been times where, the attack hasn't been just as good. So maybe they'll win these type of games like 1-0. I remember Manchester United at the start of the season. There was a game where like I'm pretty sure everybody was gonna say they were gonna get battered and so and other teams. But I don't feel like Arsenal have always had that, that firepower and the X factor up front to actually, take this game, sort of run away with them. So I've always thought that we were gonna have a foot in the game, but there was lots of worries. The Leeds game was such a big alarm bell. I mean, this run. I mean, now we're 10 undefeated. It sounds good on paper, but realistically, it isn't. I'm not really pleased with the way we've been playing recently. But let's talk about the game. When I saw the lineups, I knew he couldn't do much with what he was given. Only my second video, so you would not have known too much about you wouldn't really know anything about how I thought about Arne Slot in the past. But generally, I was just really divisive. I think the fan base has been really divisive on Arne Slot, and especially the treatment of Chiesa. And I felt like maybe this was the game to play Chiesa. Maybe not. But I mean, in my eyes, I don't think Chiesa was ever going to play, because he's definitely going to play Chiesa for 490 on Monday, so against Barnsley. So that's just Slot for you. But I saw it, I was like, okay. I saw Arsenal, I'm like, that's probably the strongest lineup they can probably ever go. I mean, on paper, obviously, we'll get to that. But first 20 minutes, it was a big struggle for us. And I felt like if you can ride the wave for like at least the first half, I'd say we could definitely get like a draw out of here, which we did. But that first half was very, very hot for us. I felt like Kirkes was getting absolutely torn by Saka. I felt like the players like Gakpo, I mean, we could talk about him this season. He's been hit and miss, really. I mean, if we talk about last season, we'll talk about probably one of the most underrated players in the league. I was thinking about this the other day, but I remember just seeing tweets and just people having discussions like Gakpo. Is he top 3 in the league? Is he top 3? So like left wingers obviously, but on form, I remember this time of the year, I'm pretty sure he scored like maybe five games in a row at Anfield, maybe more. But he was absolutely on fire at Anfield. So that's one of the players where you really think about can they actually contribute. But this season he just hasn't been it, and he's definitely going to be playing more without Diaz, because before he had that Diaz dynamic, his substitutes being dropped up front. So if Diaz doesn't play false 9, etc. So Gakpo is always someone that I'm waiting. I'll be patient with him. He isn't great on form, and I don't think it's the ability thing. I think it's just maybe just the system thing. I feel like it's because everybody's playing not particularly great, but he needs to step up his game. But yeah, I think Kirkes definitely man of the match. Dominated the field. The left side was completely his. Saka, since that time when he dived into Saka, and Saka just got away with him on the byline too and almost scored, I felt like Arsenal had just completely lost their threat for the rest of the game. And I feel like Kirkes definitely has a hand to play in that, because he is absolutely brilliant, Kirkes. I mean, I know we're talking about someone who's seen as rash, but I feel like we need some of that passion. We liked it. We had Nunes in the past, and I feel like I could see why people like Nunes. And I was one of those guys who would say, "Hey, Nunes, bro, if he comes off the bench, well, there's some games where you just have to start him. There's Real Madrid games. I know his finishing, and his link-up play may be off, hit and miss sometimes, but he will give you that energy that you need. And we're missing that, quite frankly. We've been very dull, and Kirkes has been one of those players who've been struggling, and I feel like he's mischanneled his energy and his power. I really blame him diving into tackles, but you need to eventually just calm down, take a breather, and he's done that brilliantly against one of the best right wingers, Saka. By the way, he had a good start, but didn't really play good. He came off for the 70th minute. But also other players I'm very pleased with. Konate and Van Dijk, they held it down very, very well. I'm starting to see that they're improving, back again. Van Dijk especially, he was struggling. Konate, I think Konate is someone who needs to be spoken about, because since December, he's been absolutely brilliant, keeping the line high, winning his duels, but a lot more comfortable on the balls. And so I felt like most players were brilliant on the pitch, but Gravenberch, I feel like he was my man of the match personally, up there with Kirkes. He absolutely showed us why that if he has a running mate in if we got Zubimendi, or if we had Stiller, that's someone, or Walton, someone who's just a lot more deeper, sort of that metronome, Vitinha type players, or like a destroyer next to him, like Caicedo type players. Those type of players would be such an enabler for Gravenberch to become world class, undoubtedly. So that's definitely someone who I'm looking at for the future. I think Gravenberch's talent was always there, by the way. So eventually, I think Gravenberch is gonna explode. Even we see at the start of the season, he was absolutely phenomenal. I don't know if you guys remember the Bournemouth game, I think that Everton game and that Newcastle game were my favourite about the season. He's an absolute baller, by the way. But that's one thing. Frimpong, I felt like, if he had that Leverkusen confidence, we saw that goal when, I remember last year he scored a offside goal against us. It's like the same scenario when he's on that right side, he just whacks it, right across the face of goal. I was like, he got a strike on him. Don't think he was feeling it today. I mean, and another day, if that's Salah, Salah feeling strong at himself, he's usually confident, he puts that in the corner, but I feel like we really deserve something out of this. I know it sounds crazy for no but Arsenal said very blunt, and I don't think Arsenal should panic at all. Generally, I think Arsenal should just definitely be pleased at where they're at, because it could have been 8 points, but I don't think they'll mind 6 points, because 6 points is, it's quite vindictive of the season they've had. They've been consistent. They had like a month where they just kept on winning. They had a very good record at Emirates. I think we're pretty sure we stopped their winning streak at the Emirates, so something for us to think about. But generally, there's not too much to talk about, because the game was fairly bland, but I think overall this is good in the step for Slot. That second half would just really changing everything. Shout out to Wirtz as well. Wirtz and Soboslai, they worked very well. And Martinelli, I was livid. I think every single Liverpool fan, even football fan, was just livid at him. I think I'll give him the benefit of the doubt. I think Martinelli was probably thinking he was faking it, because end of the game, potential side, but that still doesn't. It's not an excuse. I'm at the point of recording that is the day after, and they're saying that apparently he thought it was like he was just time wasting. I don't really blame him, because it just happens in the heat of the game. But Conor Bradley looks like a knee. Apparently this since this is recorded that day after, since something got to do, he's in a knee brace leaving the stadium. So that's another injury for another casualty, especially when we got a game on Monday and we're trying to play second team. There's not much left. By Cedric, I've heard he's come back close, but Endo is still injured. Isak and TK still a doubt, and the game's coming thick and fast, so we got the next couple games. Overall, I think Slot should be coming out pleased, but I'm not gonna fall for this again. This is not so like the Amram situation. Like you'll see like a nice performance and you run away with it, get carried away. I'm not gonna get too particularly carried away, because I need to see a lot more. That second half is something bright, but we need to build on that, because if we, I think our next couple of games we got Barnsley, which I'm not gonna use too much as a metronome, as a yardstick, but we got a couple of tough games coming on. We got Burnley and we got Marseille. So definitely 2 games, where you're just testing out the strength of Liverpool and the mental fortitude. I'm pleased with this draw. Arsenal will be the ones who will be beating themselves, but I feel like we should be beating ourselves too, because we could have, run away with it. But in the end, we got the draw, and I think that's all we needed. Yeah, in the end, I think Slot, he will definitely take this. I mean, I would say he did bought himself some time. Overall, happy with the performance. I will try and get a predicted 11, or like sort of another video out before Monday. Probably it will be on Sunday, so definitely look up for that. But overall, I'm just happy with the team, and yeah. So I'll see you guys on Sunday with that video, and I think that's all for me. Alright, peace.